Okay, now I'm critiquing Scott Westerfeld's Inoculata. I think it's Inoculata. It could be Inoculata. And um, I really liked it. I really liked it. Um, like Justine, who incidentally is Scott's wife, even though they have different last names. You go, Justine and Scott. You go. I ship it. I ship it hard. I still don't know how to pronounce your last name, Justine. Larbalestier? Larbalestier? Sounds kind of French. I don't know. Um, it's about 4 teenagers, who, if you don't know what inoculation is, it's mostly vocabulary that's used for talking about smallpox, because smallpox killed a lot of people really quickly. And it really, like, bleh, it played a huge part in the Revolutionary War of America, because George Washington's troops became infected with smallpox. So what he did was one form of inoculation. There's like breathing inoculation, and then there's blood or skin inoculation. Because when you have smallpox, you start to like grow these sores on your skin. And what George Washington had his men do is, it dropped 0. He cut off the sores and ground them, and smeared them onto cuts in the other men's skin. And so they were sick for a little bit, and then their immune systems beat it. And but the problem is they had half a chance of beating it and half a chance of dying from smallpox. The other way is air inoculation. This was more popular in Asia. They would take the sores, grind them up into a powder, and then make someone breathe it in. And this way was much safer. Only 1 in 10 people would die from smallpox, but still not a good number. That's actually a really bad number when you think about it. But then you're just like 10 out of 100. That's pretty good. That's an A. Right? So, but, so then one of these teenagers gets zombie infected from a zombie bone, we assume. And she's sick for a couple of days, but she doesn't tell anyone. No one knows this. This is actually backstory. She's sick for a couple of days, and then she gets better. Like, she just has she has like bruises under her eyes, and like her eyes are sort of red. And that's it, right? So everyone thinks it's sort of like zombie makeup, like she's playing for it, because no one does anything anymore. No one can remember anyone's birthdays. The only thing they do is like movie night once a month. And so these teenagers, who for the past 4 years, after the whole zombie apocalypse thing has gone underway, but yeah, there are still zombies around, all 6 billion of them. But I call it post-apocalyptic because everyone who wasn't going to survive has already become a zombie. And everyone who is safe has found their safe place. But it's not post-apocalyptic in that all the zombies are gone and now we're rebuilding society, or we're fighting the zombies now because we're safe and we have some cool weapon. No, that's not what I mean. So now that I've explained that, and they're all living on, I don't know if I said this, on an old federal marijuana farm that is surrounded by a 5-mile gate and all that. And this has been 4 years. These teens start infecting each other. There are only 4 of them, and so then they decide to run away because the adults won't come with them. One of the adults, only one of the adults is just like, we're eventually going to die because the zombies will break down the gate and kill us all. And so we should probably run before there are too many zombies for us to survive. But it's already gotten to that point, and the adults don't want to leave because even though they know that they're eventually going to die, it's sort of like the global warming denial. Oh, things will be fine, or oh, I'm doing just enough. And because it's hard to give up that safety even when it's staring you down after you've lived and worked so hard for what little you have. The idea of giving that up is maddening and terrorizing. And so that's why when all the kids break out and the adults find out immediately, they start shooting themselves and they all commit suicide. They shoot each other and they're all dead. And so the kids are running away after that. And the only, emotionally, I think the adults were played pretty well. And this story was already a little long. But I think there should have been more diving into how that affected the kids. Like, the way it's portrayed in the book, they're just like, oh, that's nice, and I think it might be sort of played off as an effect from the inoculation and how they're, sort of infected, but not really. But that doesn't make too much sense to me. It's sort of in the heat of the moment, but we should have seen the aftermath on on June at least, or John. I don't know how it's said. It's a 10-year-old boy. He's the youngest of them. The rest of them are 14, I think. And so it's already long enough for a short story. So I can see if that was cut out or something. Or if it was an effect of the disease, then that should have been gone into. But I don't think it's realistic to expect these kids who have been living with adults that are not their parents for 4 years to just shrug their shoulders when all of them commit suicide because of something they did. So, and there's no aftermath from it. There's no explanation of why there is no aftermath, so that's why I didn't like that bit. Another thing I didn't like, and this, I'm starting to think it's Justine's fault. If it's not your fault, Justine, I'm sorry for blaming you for it. Right there. This is in almost every one of the zombie stories. It's a breakup. It's a number. Yes, it's numbering. And it's a breakup in the flow of consciousness. And I really hate it. If they're, seeing this there, just seeing that this is fine. We get the point. Putting this there makes a visible break. And it makes you stop and go, wait, what happened? For a second. So that's what I didn't like. Other than that, it's pretty good. I am sort of prejudiced in favor of Scott Westerfeld because I've read his stuff before, but Scott, if you're watching this and you kill Alec or Darren anyways, I'm never reading any of your stuff again, because you did that before and that's not cool. Zombies versus unicorn people. Zombies versus unicorns. I'm Team Zombie.